You don't have to be married to be screwed over. I think you'll agree. This is Canadian MGTOW. Welcome to Red Pill Stories. It's a difficult pill to swallow, understanding that everything you were taught, everything you were led to believe in, is just a lie. But once you learn it, internalize it, and start living your new life, it gets better. Learn from these stories. Today's video is called, Making CBC Feel the Heat. Here is a follow-up story to the video I made recently, which was called The Worst Description of the Men's Rights Movement, Ever. In it I show a clip of Canada's national broadcaster interviewing a gender studies professor, who had an obvious axe to grind when it came to a documentary about the men's rights movement. The documentary was called, The Red Pill. She essentially portrayed all men as rapists, and was never once challenged about her claims by the interviewer. I personally have extreme doubts that this professor even saw the documentary. Anyhow, fast forward 8 days later and the petition to get the professor to resign and apologize to the documentary's director has passed 2,300 signatures. I haven't heard of updates regarding an apology or a resignation. But apparently CBC must have felt the heat and interviewed the director, Cassie Jaye, about her Red Pill documentary. She was able to get her points across well, although the interview was noticeably shorter than the one with the man-hating professor. This episode's story is not the usual theme of guy gets screwed over by a woman. This time it's just the state screwing a guy over. Same difference. The following story is from the organizer of the petition himself, who up to now, was simply known as Brian Day. Here is his story, unedited. March 16, 2017, personal story time. I am a former prisoner. I was recently discharged from a 10-year prison sentence. I did 5.5 years hard time, starting in 2009. I transitioned to a halfway house, part of the dock system, in late 2015, where I spent another year, and I was on an ankle monitor for a year after that. After earned time deductions I was released, for a total of 7.7 years dock. And I still have 4 years and 8 months of parole left to go. I did the time for a crime I actually committed. It was for arson. And I don't really make any bones about being punished for what I did. But while I was locked up, I couldn't help but wonder how many women were serving time for the same crime as me. I'm preaching to the choir here, of course, we all know the statistics. Incarcerated men outnumber women 19 to 1. And serve 63% longer sentences. Meaning, 6 of the 10 years I was sentenced to were because I was a man. And that's a master's degree. $250,000 of income. A family with 2 or 3 children. A house. 2 cars. Feminists often talk about structural racism in the US. And point to its prison system as the centerpiece of a theory of patriarchal oppression. I've read the new Jim Crow, Prisons for Profit, and a number of other books along that line, and I read them while working 60 cents a day for the state, for a total of $712 in over 5 years. Here's what I don't see: feminist scholars, much like Rebecca Sullivan, taking the time to consider the schism that exists between the theories which state society is irredeemably racist on the one hand for incarcerating men of color at such disproportionate rates, while at the same time claiming patriarchy even as it punishes men at a rate 7 times greater. Paul Elam could not have been more correct. They literally do not see men as human beings. There are men who are barely allowed to see the light of day. But to even talk about that is equivalent to legalizing rape, according to the esteemed Professor Sullivan. Often, as I sat on my bunk, I would think about the loss of life and the loss of opportunity for the thousands of men I encountered. 63% of their sentences could be completely unjust. The war on drugs is a war on men. Men whose windows for forming meaningful relationships and starting families are closed forever, every single day. Men who are branded and cast aside. Men who are forever demonized, and worse, whose fates are paid for by the collective taxation of men. In high school, a girl once admitted to me that she had set a car on fire. I didn't believe her. In hindsight, I could totally believe that a girl could behave that irresponsibly without significant risk to her life or her future. Over 1,500 signatures reached today, and over 6,500 views. Have a good night.
This concludes this story.
So what do you think? Would you consider it being worse off being a divorced guy, or a convicted arsonist? Leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please share, rate and subscribe. Thank you. This is Canadian MGTOW, signing off. Save yourself. Go MGTOW.